Welcome to Swai Files. I am Swai. The darkness covered the Randon Forest, and the peaceful atmosphere was suddenly torn apart by a blinding light from above. Two military officers were stunned by an unprecedented sight. A mysterious object hovering between the treetops, emitting an eerie light as if it came from another world. There was no sound, no sign of life, yet it was undeniably present. In an instant, the object vanished, leaving behind strange marks and countless unanswered questions. What really happened that fateful night? And what awaits us when the secret is revealed? A blinding white light enveloped the entire forest, as if everything was submerged in a mystical glow. At the top of the strange object, a red light glowed brightly, while below it, a faint blue halo surrounded the object. It floated in midair, or perhaps it had legs that no one could clearly see. These are the mysterious accounts of witnesses who observed the strange object in Randon Forest. What's surprising is that these descriptions closely resemble what we now call UFOs, unidentified flying objects, since the famous Roswell incident in 1947. Many believe the Randon Forest event was an encounter with extraterrestrial beings. So what has attracted UFO enthusiasts to flock to this forest in increasing numbers with numerous stories and diverse perspectives? What did they actually see? Was it an alien spacecraft or just a momentary misunderstanding? Could this event hold more secrets, comparable to Roswell? Prepare yourselves, because right now, we will dive into the mystery of the incident in the video The Randon Forest Event, England's Roswell. Let's turn back time to December 26, 1980. Randon Forest, located about 13 kilometers east of Ipswich, was as quiet as ever. This vast and dense forest, managed by the Forestry Commission, was surrounded by two former military bases, RAF Bentwaters and RAF Woodbridge. No one could have imagined that a place seemingly safe and peaceful would become the site of a globally shocking event. That night, a security patrol team from RAF Woodbridge, where the U.S. Air Force was stationed during the Cold War, was on duty as usual. Among them were Jim Peniston and Officer John Burroughs, standing guard when suddenly, a blinding red light pierced the silent night, shining brightly between the treetops in the forest. The light was so strange that both men were stunned and immediately reported to their superiors. This led to them being tasked with investigating the scene, and they quickly jumped into a jeep, speeding toward the location. At the clearing in the eastern part of the forest, they were confronted with an unprecedented sight. A glowing, mysterious object had landed right in the forest. It was about 3 meters tall and 3 meters wide, shaped like a metallic triangular block. The surface of the object appeared to be coated with a layer of opaque black glass, but it was smooth, with strange symbols engraved on its body. As Peniston approached, the object suddenly took off at an astonishing speed, defying all known physical laws. But even more strangely, it was completely silent, not emitting a single sound. The incident didn't stop there. The brilliant light from the object continued to cause chaos, sending the nearby farm animals into a frenzy. Peniston and Burroughs chased after it, crossing a fence, and witnessed the red and blue light gradually disappear into the sky, blending into the darkness. They carefully wrote their report, but fearing their superiors wouldn't believe them, they downplayed some details. However, the very next morning, Peniston returned to the scene and discovered 3 strange triangular imprints on the ground, exactly 3 meters apart, perfectly matching the size of the mysterious object. The local police also came to investigate, but they were quickly puzzled when they couldn't find an explanation. Yet, the story didn't end there. Just 2 days later, on the night of December 28th, the deputy base commander of RAF, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt, received reports of a similar object appearing. Skeptical, he decided to investigate himself, accompanied by a fully equipped team, carrying everything from floodlights and night vision binoculars to radiation detectors. And then the strange light appeared once again, moving rapidly, casting beams of light onto the ground as if it were trying to burn everything beneath it. Lieutenant Colonel Halt and his team continued to observe the strange phenomenon for several hours. The blue and red lights, brilliant in the night sky, hovered, vanished, and then reappeared in the darkness. The following morning, they returned to the scene and used radiation detectors to examine the traces, discovering significantly elevated radiation levels in the area where the object had landed. So, what did Peniston, Burroughs, and Halt see? Was it a UFO or just a misunderstanding? None of the scientific theories presented could reasonably explain the phenomenon. Some even speculated that the Randon Forest incident might be related to a secret government plan, or perhaps it was a sophisticated hoax. But regardless, the incident quickly captured the public's attention, and from that moment on, Randon became one of the most famous UFO events in the world. And now, we still stand before the question, what really happened in Randon Forest on that winter night in 1980? On the morning after the strange events occurred, Randon Forest was no longer a quiet place. Locals, UFO researchers, and the media were all drawn in by the story that had just unfolded in the area. News of an unidentified flying object, brilliant lights, and radiation traces spread quickly, making the forest the center of everyone's attention. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt and his team continued to investigate further. They returned to the site, where the triangular marks and burn marks were still clearly visible on the ground. UFO researchers began arriving with full equipment, measuring and analyzing every sign they could find. Some believed that these markings were not random and were surely related to the appearance of the UFO. Radiation detectors continued to record unusual levels, particularly around the triangular indentations. No one could deny that something deeply mysterious had happened in the forest. But the story became more complicated when conflicting information began to emerge. Many proposed the theory that the lights witnesses had seen might have been from the Orford Ness Lighthouse, located about 16 to 18 kilometers to the southeast. The light from this lighthouse could be seen from up to 29 kilometers away, and it flashed every 5 seconds, a pattern that matched the timing observed by Lieutenant Colonel Halt and his team on that strange night. However, this theory was quickly dismissed by UFO researchers. They argued that the light witnesses saw wasn't from the lighthouse because it had continuously shifting colors, unlike the fixed light of a lighthouse. Moreover, the object's incredible speed and eerie silence couldn't possibly be characteristics of a regular artificial light source. The incident became even more confusing when another group of witnesses, including Larry Warren, a young soldier at the time, claimed they had seen something even stranger. According to Larry's account, on the night of December 28th, he and his team arrived at the Randon Forest area and encountered a triangular-shaped flying object hovering about 6 meters above the ground. The object emitted red and blue lights, similar to what had been reported earlier. However, what made Larry's story different was his claim that he saw a creature step out from the spacecraft. The being had a human-like form, wore a strange outfit, and carried some unidentified equipment. Larry swore that the creature was not human, and the incident left him utterly shaken. Despite this, when Larry's story was made public, it was dismissed by officials and those in charge. They suggested that Larry had been brainwashed or influenced by UFO tales, and that his story was merely the product of a vivid imagination. However, for UFO enthusiasts, Larry's account only reinforced their belief that Randon Forest had indeed become the site of an alien encounter. The story became even more thrilling when a series of independent researchers decided to return to Randon Forest to investigate further. The Goach Mystical Investigation Team, a group specializing in supernatural phenomena, conducted a series of investigations at the scene. On one dark night, they claimed to have seen bright lights moving through the treetops, which they managed to capture on camera. According to them, this was proof that UFOs had indeed appeared in the forest. Not long after, reports of military helicopters flying over the area added more intrigue to the story. Many believed that the military was aware of the UFO's presence and was trying to monitor or even gather more information about these phenomena. This only fueled public curiosity, and conspiracy theories began to spread that the British and US governments were hiding the truth about the UFO landing at Randon Forest. Yet, despite the captivating theories, none have been able to provide a satisfactory explanation. Even when scientists got involved, they could not logically explain the speed and strange movements of the object witnessed by the witnesses. They could not explain why the object made no sound, or why the light from the object could interfere with electronic devices and animals in the area. This has left the Randon Forest incident an unsolved mystery, reminiscent of the famous Roswell incident in the US in 1947. The question remains, what really happened in Randon Forest in December 1980? Were those mysterious lights evidence of extraterrestrial life? Or was it all just a sophisticated hoax covered up by the military and government? These questions will continue to spark debate, and perhaps we will never fully know the truth behind this shocking event. The mystery surrounding the Randon Forest incident doesn't end with theories of aliens or lighthouse lights. Many people began to question whether this was a deeper military conspiracy that the government was trying to cover up. One of the widely discussed theories at the time was that the Randon Forest incident might have been the result of an advanced military technology test, possibly involving weapons or unmanned vehicles. Nick Pope, who worked at the UK Ministry of Defence from 1985 to 2006, was tasked with investigating UFO-related incidents. In 1993, he reopened the Randon Forest case to further investigate the strange phenomena. Pope admitted that this was one of the 5 encounters that he could not provide a reasonable explanation for. The witness evidence, including the ground imprints and unusually high radiation levels, made the incident extraordinary. However, even Pope couldn't reach a definitive conclusion. Although the radiation levels recorded were higher than usual, he couldn't prove that it was directly related to an alien spacecraft. Instead, he suspected that it might have been a prototype drone being secretly tested. Nonetheless, Pope's explanation failed to convince those who believed in the existence of UFOs, as the red and blue lights and the superior speed of the object had yet to be explained satisfactorily. The story grew even more complicated when some researchers suggested that the indentations and radiation at the scene might have been the result of nuclear experiments conducted by NATO in the area. The location of Randon Forest was highly sensitive, especially given its proximity to important military bases, where many activities related to defense technology and nuclear weapons had taken place. This theory suggested that the witnesses might have accidentally stumbled upon a military test, and the strange phenomena they observed were the result of advanced technology yet to be revealed. But if this truly was a military experiment, why didn't the government provide a clear explanation? This has led many to believe that the Randon Forest incident is similar to the 1947 Roswell event, an event covered up by the government to keep the existence of UFOs or extraterrestrial technology a secret. Supporters of this theory believe that the government and military are hiding information to protect national defense interests or to prevent public panic. One notable fact is that by the late 1980s, the British government had received a flood of letters from the public about UFOs, with nearly half of them related to the Randon Forest incident. This event became a hot topic, attracting the interest not only of UFO researchers but also conspiracy theorists around the world. The unverified evidence, along with the government's silence, only fueled suspicions that something important was being concealed. David Clark, a renowned UFO researcher, declared in December 2018 that the Randon Forest incident was actually a hoax carried out by the British Special Air Service, SAS, to get revenge on the US Air Force. According to this theory, the SAS had attempted to infiltrate RAF Bentwaters but were caught and detained by the US military. Angered by the incident, the SAS devised a plan for revenge, creating a series of mysterious red light phenomena and pretending it was a UFO to confuse the US military. This prank, Clark claimed, turned into one of the most famous UFO events in history. While this theory might sound plausible, it was quickly dismissed by those who believed the incident was too complex to be just a prank. They argued that the evidence of radiation, the speed of the object, and the strange markings on the ground cannot be easily explained by a military hoax. So, after all that happened in Randon Forest in December 1980, what truly occurred? Scientific theories and conspiracy theories continue to clash, but none has been convincing enough to become the official answer. The three main witnesses of the event, Jim Penniston, John Burroughs, and Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt, have all stood firm in their belief that they witnessed an extraterrestrial phenomenon. But is that the truth? Or was it simply a misunderstanding or military intervention? These questions will continue to be discussed, debated, and perhaps never satisfactorily answered. Like the Roswell incident, Randon Forest has become a symbol of unsolved mysteries in UFO history. Whether you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials or not, there's no denying that this story has captured the attention of the world and remains a fascinating topic for those seeking the truth about unexplained phenomena. In the end, you and I may only be left to watch from a distance, wondering whether what we're facing is a sophisticated prank, a military conspiracy, or truly humanity's contact with an extraterrestrial civilization. And the answer, perhaps, will forever remain hidden in the mysterious shadows of Randon Forest.